Welcome to Professor Joe's Education Channel and Advocacy, a philosophy lecture series. This channel is the author's collection of philosophy lecture series for student and classroom purposes. A disclaimer is provided to ensure that all information on the site and our mobile application is provided in good faith. We make no representation or warranty of accuracy in any kind, expressed or implied. Thank you. This is Professor Joe, your education advocate. As a professor of philosophy for more than 20 years now, an inquiry about God's existence and the problem of evil arose among philosophy students. The existence of evil poses a profound challenge to belief in a benevolent God. How can a loving God allow suffering and injustice to permeate our world? This question has haunted theologians, philosophers, and everyday individuals for centuries. The attempt to reconcile God's goodness with the reality of evil is known as theodicy. It grapples with the tension between a God who is all-powerful and all-loving, and a world marred by pain, tragedy, and moral darkness, from natural disasters that claim countless lives to acts of human cruelty that defy comprehension. Evil manifests in countless forms. We witness the innocent suffering, the righteous persecuted, and the forces of chaos seemingly triumphing over order. The sheer magnitude and depth of suffering can lead us to question the very foundations of our faith. If God is truly good, why does evil exist? This paradox lies at the heart of the human experience. It is a question that has reverberated through the halls of academia and whispered in the silence of countless hearts. The search for answers has led to a rich tapestry of philosophical and theological inquiry, each thread attempting to weave together the seemingly disparate realities of a loving God and a broken world. The problem of evil is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is a deeply personal struggle that touches upon our most fundamental beliefs about the nature of God, the meaning of life, and our place in the universe. The intellectual landscape of the Middle Ages was profoundly shaped by the problem of evil. Medieval philosophers, steeped in Christian theology, grappled with the tension between divine goodness and worldly suffering. In the 3rd century A.D., Augustine tried to answer the question to him, does God cause evil? Augustine, a towering figure in Christian thought, developed a theodicy rooted in the goodness of God as the source of all good things in creation. He also God allowed evil to happen as punishment for sins. Augustine argued that evil is not an independent entity created by God, but rather a privation, a lack of goodness. It is part of the good that God created. It belongs to the good. For example, a knife is good as it can cut, but it can hurt. Germs exist and participate in existence. They are good, yet they can attack and destroy our bodies. Augustine, and developed by Thomas Aquinas in the 13th century, the importance of free will as a gift from God. That God, in His infinite wisdom, created humans with free will, gifted with free will, but has no control over that gift once given to humans. And it is the misuse of this freedom that gives rise to evil. Using the Bible story of Adam and Eve's disobedience in the Garden of Eden serves as the archetypal example of humanity's fall from grace. Augustine and Thomas Aquinas further developed theodicy, showing God's goodness in creation but permitting evil to happen in the world. If Augustine and Aquinas argued that God permits evil for the greater good, it is then, according to God's infinite wisdom, that we can benefit from the experience of evil. God can turn evil into good. While we may not always comprehend God's plan, Aquinas believed that suffering can serve as a test of faith, an opportunity for spiritual growth, and a means of ultimately achieving a greater good. Medieval philosophers viewed the world through the lens of divine providence, seeking to reconcile the existence of evil with God's overarching plan. Their writings laid the groundwork for centuries of philosophical and theological debate on the nature of God, the problem of evil, and the meaning of human existence. The debate over God's existence and the problem of evil has continued to rage throughout history, with philosophers and theologians offering a range of arguments. One of the most prominent arguments against God's existence in light of evil is the logical problem of evil. This argument posits that the existence of an all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good God is logically incompatible with the existence of evil. If God is all-powerful, he could prevent evil. If he is all-knowing, he would know about all instances of evil. And if he is all-good, he would want to prevent evil. Therefore, the argument goes, the existence of evil proves that God cannot possess all three of these qualities simultaneously. Defenders of theism have countered with various responses to the logical problem of evil. One common response is the free will defense, which argues that God values human freedom so highly that he is willing to allow the possibility of evil in order to preserve it. Another argument against God's existence is the evidential problem of evil. This argument claims that the amount and severity of evil in the world provides strong evidence against the existence of a loving God. Proponents of this view point to the horrors of war, genocide, and natural disasters as evidence that the world is not governed by a benevolent deity. Theodicy remains a complex and challenging area of philosophical inquiry. While there are no easy answers to the problem of evil, the ongoing debate forces us to confront fundamental questions about the nature of God, the meaning of suffering, and the limits of human understanding. Modern metaphysics, wrestling with ancient questions. The problem of evil continues to captivate and challenge modern philosophers. Contemporary discussions have explored new avenues of thought and revisited traditional arguments with fresh perspectives. The rise of process theology, for instance, has offered a different understanding of God's relationship to the world. Process theologians view God not as an immutable, all-powerful being, but as a dynamic force in constant interaction with the universe. In this view, God does not unilaterally control or prevent evil, but rather works within the fabric of creation, seeking to influence and persuade towards good. The rise of secular humanism and atheism has also brought new voices to the debate. Many atheists argue that the persistence of evil and suffering is evidence against the existence of a benevolent creator. They contend that we are responsible for creating a more just and compassionate world through our own efforts, without relying on supernatural intervention. Personal reflections, finding meaning amidst the mystery. Beyond the realm of academic discourse, the problem of evil is an intensely personal struggle. When confronted with suffering in our own lives or the lives of those we love, philosophical arguments can feel cold and distant. Theodicy, at its core, is not merely an intellectual exercise, but a deeply human search for meaning and hope in the face of pain. Some find solace in the belief that suffering is a test of faith, an opportunity for spiritual growth, or a necessary part of God's plan. Joseph Butler of the 17th century reminded believers that we are still on a journey towards our destiny. While on a journey, we encounter suffering and evil as a test of endurance. John Hick of the 20th century concluded in his Theodicy that suffering and the experience of evil are part of our soul searching to find the meaning of life and existence. Others find meaning in acts of compassion, working to alleviate suffering in the world and create a more just and equitable society. Ultimately, the problem of evil is a mystery that each individual must grapple with in their own way. Conclusion: an enduring inquiry. The problem of evil is a timeless philosophical and theological dilemma that continues to challenge and perplex thinkers today. From the writings of Augustine and Aquinas to the debates of modern philosophers, the quest to reconcile God's goodness with the reality of evil has shaped our understanding of the divine, the nature of suffering, and the meaning of human existence. While there may never be a definitive answer to the question of why evil exists, the ongoing inquiry compels us to confront fundamental truths about ourselves and the world around us. It reminds us of the limits of human understanding and the enduring power of faith, doubt, and the search for meaning in a complex and oftentimes painful world. The problem of evil is not merely an academic exercise, but a deeply personal struggle that compels us to confront our own beliefs, values, and experiences. As we continue to grapple with this enduring mystery, may we find solace in the pursuit of truth, compassion in the face of suffering, and hope for a brighter future. Thanks for watching Professor Joe's Education Channel and Advocacy. A full fair use copyright disclaimer statement is provided here. Thank you.